Hi everyone, welcome to Domain 1 Lesson 4 with Mrs. Taranjo at the Citizenship Academy. We are going to be talking about dialogue today. Okay, some of our objectives. We're going to learn about punctuation and capitalization when writing dialogue. We're also going to use dialogue in a text to analyze the characters and their relationships with each other. And we're also going to use dialogue when we're showing and not telling in our own personal narratives. Some key vocabulary. Saffron, a spice often used for cooking. Parroted, which is repeated. Wafts, which is aromas. Gladulus, which are flowering plants in the iris family. Smugly, with confidence that one is correct. And innards, internal parts of a body. So yesterday we talked about, or last time we had a video, we talked about showing versus telling. Now we're going to read two passages that are examples of showing and telling. And we're going to talk about what makes them different. Passage 1. The next day at recess, I asked some of the American kids in class what they had for Thanksgiving. Turkey, what else, dummy? With stuffing, Jimmy Dawson told me. What's stuffing? I asked. He burst out laughing, thinking I was kidding. It's the stuff you put in the turkey, he tried to explain. Oh, you mean like candy and a piñata? I proposed. No, dummy, with bread and celery and other stuff. That's why they call it stuffing, he tried to clarify. Oh, okay. I pretended to understand exactly what he meant. Passage 2. The next day at recess, I asked some of the American kids in class what they had for Thanksgiving. Jimmy Dawson told me he had turkey and stuffing. I pretended to understand what the stuffing was. So if you notice just by looking at this image that the showing one is a little bit bigger than the telling one, what makes it different is passage 1 is using dialogue. They're using communication. So dialogue is when characters are actually interacting and talking to each other in a story. And you can see that because Jimmy and the main character are going back and forth talking about what stuffing is and things like that. So this one provides a lot more detail and more images to help us understand a story better than this one is, because this one's very basic. When we talk about turkey and stuffing, okay, well, what's in stuffing? This one tells us kind of what's in it, so it gives us a little bit more visual. So we have some rules for writing dialogue that we're going to practice. Now, these can be a little tricky, but we're going to be practicing them when we're writing. So there's a few rules we have to follow when we put dialogue in. So remember, dialogue is when two or more characters are actually talking to each other. First rule, quotation marks are placed before the first word of a quote and after the punctuation where it follows the last word. So what they're talking about is the quote is what is actually being said. So for this sentence, it says, give me a taste. That is the words that are actually being spoken, and these are the tag. The Bella said is who is saying that sentence. These right here, these little tick marks, these are the quotation marks. So when you're putting a quotation in, it should go before the first letter of the first part of the quote. And it should go after, so right here you see this comma here, the quotations go after that punctuation mark. Now this sentence is exactly the same. All they did is flip it the other way where we have the tag first. Same thing, as soon as that's the first words that she was saying, the quotation goes there, and it goes after when the quotation stops after the punctuation. Rule 2. When the tag, which is, remember I said is Bella said, that's the tag. It's the who's speaking, the name of the speaker, and the speaking verb. So, did they say, they yelled, they exclaimed, all those things? Those are speaking verbs. If those tags follow the quote, it ends in a period. When the tag precedes the quote, it ends in a comma. What that means is, if you notice here, we have the quote here, but we still have Bella said the tag at the end of the sentence. This whole thing is a complete sentence. In order to make it one complete sentence, we put a comma after the quote. That means that we didn't finish out the sentence. Because remember, period means that's the end of the sentence. But adding the Bella said part is the tag. So that's really important. We keep that in that part of the sentence. However, if you're looking here, we have the tag first, They put a comma to remember to notify that it's a continuing sentence. They start the quote, but this time this is the end of the sentence. We don't have a tag to put, so we put a period at the end. Rule number 3, the punctuation that ends a quote is inside the quotation marks. Notice here, the quotation mark came on the other side of that comma, on the other side of that period. It's really important, the period, the exclamation mark, the commas, the periods, the quotes go on the outside of them. So it's almost like a hug in the sentence. So the quotation marks go around what's being said, and part of that is that punctuation mark. Rule number 4, when a tag follows a quote, quotes do not end in an exclamation point or question mark, end in a comma instead. So sometimes when you're writing a dialogue, the character might be yelling, "Get out of there!" where we would put an exclamation point, or they might say, "Where's my dog?" which would be a question mark. If it's exclaiming or questioning, we put the correct punctuation marks after the quote. But if it's just a basic sentence like "give me a taste," where we aren't asking a question and we weren't exclaiming, you just put a comma. It's fine. But there are sometimes you're going to want to have those. So if you look here, "May I have a taste?" we have that question mark because it's a question, and then we have the quotation marks. So it really depends on how you want your the person doing the dialogue, how do you want them to say it? Do you want them just to say it normally? Do you want them to ask a question? Do you want them to exclaim? It really matters on that. And number 5, when writing dialogue between 2 or more speakers, begin a new paragraph each time the speaker changes. So what that means is, if I'm talking to someone else or in my story, I might start the paragraph talking in my sense, and then I break it down and give myself another paragraph when the next person's speaking. So I'm going to show you an example from the previous page first. If you notice, this one seems a lot longer than this one. Well, we know it's got more words in it. However, if you notice, every time the character changed who was talking, we went to a new paragraph. So when Jimmy was talking, the sentence went here, and then it switched to the person who is writing it. So they wrote another paragraph, and another one, and another one. So it just kind of breaks it down a little bit further. So that's kind of how this is. So Bella jealously stared at Jeremy's ice cream. She had not had ice cream in weeks. "Give me a taste," she said. Okay, that's the end of her talking. So now we're going to break another paragraph. So we hit enter. "I paid for this. Go buy your own," Jeremy answered. So now we're in another person speaking. Oh, now we're back to Bella. So now we're going to go to another paragraph. Then it goes back to Jeremy. Then it goes down here. So when you're having people talking, you're actually going to bring so if you're typing, you're going to hit enter. If you're writing, you're just going to go down a line when someone's speaking. So anytime now it's not, if Bella was continuing to talk, it would all still be one paragraph. But if it's a new person speaking, we go to the next line. So before we end for this video, I'm going to do a quick recap of Thanksgiving Day, what we just read. And then in my next video, we're going to read the text and continue the story. So what we've kind of read so far is the main character is trying to plan a real American Thanksgiving and has enlisted his help of his abuela to help him plan it. Now they've been having a lot of trouble. He had a tough time getting it home. We have the problem of they found the pop that tells the temperature of the turkey. The main character is kind of trying to alert to his abuela that the turkey's not done cooking. And now family is starting to arrive. So that's where we're going to, when we start in the next video, we'll start reading this page when we get back. So I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.